So I remember this time I was working at this pain like surgery center. It was called Pain Physicians of Wisconsin, but I think now it's called Pro Spine and Pain. I remember working there, and when I first got there, at first it was supposed to be like a contract, so just a couple weeks. But the manager was like, "Oh, well, how do you feel about being hired on directly? Because if you go in as contract, you get paid way more money. However, if you go in as direct hire, you just get the regular standard pay." But me being the kind of person I am, I was about ready to be done with taking contracts, so I decided to um, be hired on directly. Now there was one other person of PLC that worked there, and she was older than me. She was a lady, and she was trying to warn me like, this is not where you want to be at. Like, I'm happy that my contract is ending. Like, you shouldn't. You're not gonna like it here. But you know me, I give everything the benefit of the doubt. So I'm like, whatever. I'll just stick it out and see for myself, a form my own opinion. So I was there, and like I was like the lead RN for the operating room. But every so often, I would have to do post op. I did pre op like a little. Like sometimes I did pre op. I think that was like basically when I was off training. But when I was working there was a nurse. Her name was Sue. She was a bully. Like I was getting harassed physically, sexually, emotionally, mentally. Like I was going through it. The nurse Sue, like she would like bump me, try to hit me with the carts, like try to make my assignment, like my day, just horrible. Try to like she was just a horrible person. She was really rude and snotty, and I don't know what her issue was. I reported her a whole lot, and nothing was done. Other people there tried to get me to falsify documents. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't remember the other nurse name right now. I can't think of her name whatsoever. But what I do remember about her is that she was supposed to have her patient consented to have the procedure. However, she did not do her job. So instead of taking accountability for her lack of competency and ensuring that the documents were filled out in its entirety, she made it seem like it was my fault that she forgot to have the patient get consent to have the operation. Granted, I was the RN for the operating room, but and I'm not trying to make any excuse, but at the end of the day, like I should have reviewed every paper, like the paperwork, but you don't have time. Like I don't know which doctor I was working with that day, but it was like you gotta keep going, keep going. So I'm assuming that a grown woman, a grown nurse that had been a nurse, leave it to her. She don't need no help. She would make sure that her documents are signed, but she did not. So Dr. Strauss, um, he told her to, he gave her a verbal order to just sign it or something like that. I don't know what I don't even know what the verbal order was because I was nowhere around them when the verbal order was given. So then she comes to me, was like, "Oh, you need to do this, da 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 da, because you didn't have the patient consent." So I'm like, "Girl, you are pre-op. That's your job. That was your responsibility, not mine. I'm off of being a team player. If she would have told me like, oh, I'm behind, like, do you mind getting them signed, da 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 da." Like the thing is, if the chart was upright, I believe it was like complete. It was supposed to be ready to go. But if it was like sideways or something like that, then no, it wasn't ready. The patient wasn't ready to go to the operating room. But the chart was in its right position as if it was ready to go. So anywho, I told her, well, I didn't say nothing to her yet. I just walked over to the policy and procedure book, and I went and looked at the responsibilities and duties of each RN, the pre-op nurse, the PACU nurse, like all of that. So I'm like, oh, and I showed it to her, like, no, that was your responsibility, not mine. So you need to hold yourself accountable. And then I said, as far as this Dr. South giving this verbal order, he didn't give the verbal order to me. He gave the verbal order to you. Therefore, you need to do what he told you to do, not me. Like, why would I look like taking orders from another RN that has less experience than I have? That makes no sense. Come on now. That was another nurse. So right now I'm talking to you about two nurses. And then I always would get my stuff done. Like, I always did. I went through so much anxiety and depression and everything being at that job. So or they wouldn't have the stuff ready. Like, I'll be waiting on my cart. I can't leave my patient. I'm the only RN in the room. So it's like, where's my cart? Like, why am I having to keep calling you guys for it? So I overhead called them. Like, if you need a reminder, just say that. I have no problem with reminding you. Everyone in their mama gonna know. That was the problem. They didn't like being called out. But the most awful experience I had with this company was being sexually harassed and assaulted by Dr. Farley. Yes, Dr. Farley. He's an anesthesiologist in Wisconsin. And I don't care about dropping these things because y'all wrong and y'all foul. And I don't care at this point anymore. Like, nothing was done. I got fired, actually, for reporting all these people. But Dr. Farley, his little perverted, you know what? I'm in the women's locker room. I'm trying to get dressed, but because I was the lead RN for the operating room, I would get there a little bit. Or maybe I don't know if I was doing pre-op. Maybe I was doing pre-op. I don't know what I was doing. I can't really remember. Long story short, I'm in the women's locker room, and Dr. Farley come walking in. I didn't even have on my top, so I was very uncomfortable. He's like, "Yeah, I just need to get a jacket. We don't have any in our side." I'm like, "Are you fucking shit? You gotta be shitting me right now." So I just walk out in the hallway. You know how you like cover, like grab something to cover up. I went in the hallway to cover up because I didn't want any I can't even think of the word right now. Whatever. I didn't want people to think like, oh, they must be, dating or seeing each other or anything like that. So I just stand in the hallway until he get out of the women's locker room. That was one instant. And then another instant was I was in the operating room and I was getting the room. I was setting the room up for the first patient to come. So I'm doing my thing. I'm like way on the other side of the room. I wasn't even by where Dr. Farley was at. Dr. Farley came into the operating room and he getting his stuff ready. So I'm like, whatever. He getting his music together. My back is to him. Instead of him walking around or excusing himself or anything, he decides that it was funny to put his private on my backside. And I'm like, dude, I looked at him like, what is you doing? So he just smiles. So I'm like, at the time, I was talking to this guy and I told him about it. And I told another, I don't remember her name, but she was like the surgical tech. I told her about it and I told another staff about it. So I'm like, is this normal behavior? Like, people acting like nothing's wrong here. So now we get to this holiday party. I think it must have been for Christmas. So Dr. Farley's there. He didn't start drinking and stuff like that. So everyone can see him harassing me. He's literally going around telling people like, oh yeah, Nurse Smart, she's hot. Nurse Smart, hot. The new nurse, like he's going around saying all this stuff. And then like he just kept on like staring. I was very uncomfortable, first of all. Like he kept coming by, staring, licking his lips. Like, dude, have you seen yourself in the mirror? Do you really think I would talk to somebody like you? I don't. Luckily, I was there with the guy that I was talking to, and he was a big man. A big man. So he went and said something to Dr. Farley, basically telling him to leave me alone, and he don't play about me. He said, this one right here, I don't play about. But clearly, he was playing about me, but that's a whole other story for a different video because we're not together anymore. But anywho. So from that night, one of the chicks that I ended up confining in, because she was a cool young girl. Like, she was probably like early 20s, I think. I can't really remember. She was like, I don't know, 19, 20. I told her because she knew all the things I was going through working for this company. Like, people would harass, like, they would just antagonize me. I would barely get lunches, or like, whenever we would go to lunch, because the surgery center was so small, it wasn't a lot of us, we would have to report off and be like, oh, I'm taking a lunch. So I did everything the right way. Sometimes they would go on lunch, they wouldn't tell me nothing. They would just take their lunch whenever they wanted to. Well, I told my team, like, hey, after we finish this case, then we'll go take